Welcome to Blissful Period, Gentle Hatha Restorative Practice. For today's practice, you're welcome to get some blankets, cushions. We'll begin by sitting into the front of the sit bones, and the blanket or cushion can help you sit more comfortably. You're welcome to also gather some blocks if you have them, or extra blankets that you can fold up so that you can place them onto the outer thighs. We'll begin by sitting with our knees apart, feet together. You can use the props underneath the thighs. Come to the front of your sit bones, sensing your head above the rib cage over the pelvis, relaxing the shoulders, and taking your left hand down beside you. Keep both sit bones rooted. Breathing into the side, the back, and the belly. Begin to reach your right hand up and over towards the left ceiling, and your hand can be a little bit more ahead of your forehead, keeping both shoulders relaxed away from the ears. Where do you feel your breath here? Switching sides, take your right hand down. You can slowly walk it away from you if that you find that feels spacious. And begin to reach your left hand up and over. Once again, keeping your sit bones rooted. Now placing your hands in front of your knees or shins, let's round our spine back into cat and lifting your chest forward into cow pose. Doing that a few times. As you draw your belly in and back into cat, you start to engage a little bit of core. And then taking your left hand down, right hand behind your head, reach your elbow in and up. Begin to tilt once again up and over towards the left ceiling, and then wave your elbow down towards the floor, sensing what's happening into the side of the rib cage, into the back of the shoulders. Do that a few times here. This practice is really about nourishing your spine, your pelvis. So it's not just for those of us that have periods. Maybe you sit a lot, this can be a wonderful practice as well. Other side, walking your right hand out, left elbow coming in and rotating down. Being mindful that both of your seats are still rooted onto the floor, and your feet, can you hug them gently in so the whole body participates, even the fingertips that's on the floor. And coming back up, a few more shoulder rolls backwards. Take your hands in front of you with your palms facing towards the camera or towards me. Fingertips down, release, just yawning your hands. And then take your thumb in, wrap the rest of your fingers around, make a fist, and then draw your fists up, and then circular motions. This will be releasing out our medial nerve there as you stretch your elbows now out. And it can be shoulder height or a little lower, and then begin to see if you can reach it back. Not straining, just finding a little bit of tension. And wiggle your fingers, release. And bringing your left elbow underneath the right, you can grab opposite shoulders, or you can come into a half bind in Garuda arms, or the full bind, eagle arms. From here, we'll come back into our cat-cows. Feet together, knees apart, rounding your spine, belly draws in, then come back to neutral. So just rounding back, finding space in between the shoulder blades, and coming back up. We'll begin to come to the other side, right elbow underneath the left. Different side, different shape. Notice what's available. And once again, rounding into your spine, and you might explore which breath works better for you. Everyone's unique. 3 times cat and coming back to neutral. From here, taking the blocks away, we're going to come on all 4. If you'd like, you can take the blanket underneath your knees. Here to bring your shoulders over your wrists, or maybe your hands are a little bit more forward to support your wrists. Now we come on to all four cat-cows. Notice the flexion and the extension of the spine, and then some wheelbarrows, just drawing circles with your tailbone, and everything else might start to move as well. Rooting down into the pinky toes as well, and slowly thread your right arm underneath the left for thread the needle. For this one, since some of us might be menstruating, you might bring yourself lower into child's pose if that feels better. You might have your hips over your knees instead if that feels more comfortable. Then you can reach your left arm up and over towards the opposite corner of the mat and rolling the ribs towards the ceiling. Coming to the opposite side, notice how you're breathing continuously towards those accordion rib cage, taking the right hand maybe up and over the head if there's space in the shoulders and the sides of the armpits. Can you breathe into the space, the lymph nodes? Come back on all four. A few more cat-cows, mobilizing the spine, and then some side bend, gazing over to one shoulder, wagging your tail to the same direction. And then you'll take your right leg behind you, walk it across to the opposite side, and then begin to see if you can rock on your toes so that your heels comes forward and back. A little side bend there into the side of the ribs. Come back to center, taking your left toe behind. Just transferring your weight forward and back, keeping your index and pinkies mounted down into the pinky mounds, rooted into the floor. And then taking the blanket underneath your left knee, you can use your right hand to step your right foot forward. Come into a low lunge pose. Here, you really want to maintain a nice long spine. Notice you're not dropping your hips, so belly draws in, a little bit of engagement there, and hug your legs towards each other, right into the center line. Then you can reach your left arm up and over. Here I'm just giving you what it might look like, so really different for everybody. As you hug into the center, making sure your hip is not bulging out to the side. And now taking your left hand down, reaching your right arm up, and then sweeping it underneath for a nice rotation. You might be sitting at your home office quite a bit these days, so this practice is about creating a little bit of energy and yet resting during the time when our body actually deserves some rest. So resting in child's pose, allowing your belly to completely soften. If this is uncomfortable, you can add props underneath you, your head, your belly, your hips. You can bring your elbows down and bring your palms together, perhaps pressing down into the elbows and hugging them in towards the sides of your head, and sensing once again that stability in the triceps. You can also have your hands further apart. Now taking your right knee back onto the blanket, step your left foot forward, coming back to low lunge. This is a really great posture for releasing the tightness into the front of your right hip flexor. You can even encourage that by squeezing your right buttocks and then reaching up and over to the opposite side with your arm. Once again, hugging both hips in. It's as if there's a block between your thighs here. And then once again, taking your hands down in front of you and reaching your left arm up and then thread it underneath towards the right. keeping energy rooted into that pinky toe behind you. And from here, we're going to step our knee back. This time, walk your hands a little bit more ahead as you do some cat-cows. And then coming into a half plank and round back into your child's pose. Just undulating your spine. Inhaling forward, exhaling back. Or maybe you'll have a different breath once more. Make this unique, make this your own. And from here, we will be transitioning onto the floor, so take your time to transition down. You can come down maybe on your elbows first and slowly walk your knees back, lower your hips, your pelvis, your belly. And then we're just going to rest. Stack your hands on top of each other. Turn your toes in, heels out, so your lower back feels more spacious. And give yourself permission to let your belly soften completely. So those were a little bit more active earlier. Now we always encourage more softening. And you can even slide your left knee out to the side like a half frog. Taking a few breaths. Feeling your whole body supported as you let the bones be heavy. And then switching sides, and your head can turn in whichever direction feels comfortable for your neck, your cervical spine. And then you can stay and continue to do these half frogs, or we're going to start to come into a little bit more strengthening. So if this doesn't feel right for you because you might be needing more rest, you can always do the half frog. I like to always add more strengthening because that's how we can balance the body. So reaching your hands up, you can have your head on the floor, or you can start to engage the belly a little and lift yourself up. The whole point here is just to float your arms up and float them up towards the ceiling, and then to float your thumbs towards each other, rolling the head of the shoulders back and down. Once you've tried that a few times, release, let go, and relax. So just even laying on the belly can be great for perhaps some stomach cramps or bloating during this time. And then if you'd like to, let's do another set, reaching your palms up, retracting the shoulders, rolling the shoulder blades together, and then float them up to the ceiling and then wave them towards each other, thumb towards the midline. Squeezing, contracting. Keep breathing in and out through the nose and slowly release down. Turn your head to the opposite direction. Allow your shoulders to round down and slowly transition by pressing yourself back into child's pose. Your hands can be forward or back. You can also add a blanket underneath your belly or maybe a water bottle. Resting in child's pose can be so nourishing. If that doesn't feel right for you, of course, you can make it your own. You might take your hands underneath your chin so that your head is a little bit more above your heart. And let's prepare to come onto the floor. Take your time to slowly lower yourself down. So if child's pose the regular way doesn't feel right, you can always come onto your back and do child's pose. And here we'll draw some knee circles. So the femur bone is rotating around the hip socket. You can go in all directions. It could feel really nice into your lower back and sacrum. And you can also try knee together and focusing on drawing that clock around the sacrum. And we'll lower our left foot on the floor, right knee in. If it feels okay, you can extend that left leg long on the floor. The shoulders relax, your head spacious. And then coming to half happy baby. So you can either hold on to the outside of your right thigh by bending your knee towards you and just take it out to the side more. You might hold on to the shin. You might hold on to your foot if that's available. You might just use a strap or a scarf. And then drawing some circles, once again, as you hug your right knee in, doing both directions. Then left knee hugs in, we'll switch sides. Whenever we switch sides, it's a different pose, so notice what's available. And honor that. Half happy baby once again. Notice you can take your hand to the outside of your thigh, shins, foot, wherever feels right for you. Your right leg, the extended leg that's on the floor, can be nice and anchored. So a little bit more support. Breathing the belly soft. Bring the knee back in, drawing gentle circles. So whenever we move in these circular motion, we're creating lots of blood flow into this area. So encouraging that nourishment. And then full happy baby. Once again, wherever you hold is up to you. You might just keep your knees bent and not hold on to any body parts. You can rock from side to side. Have a little bit fluidity here. And then draw the knees together and slowly roll yourself to the side. Press yourself back up to sit. We'll gather our props, a blanket and a bolster. We're going to prepare for a supported spinal twist. So if you don't have a bolster, definitely using blankets. Fold them up so that it's a comfortable height. You can even use a block as a pillow, sitting on the side, and then gently roll yourself to the side body first. If that feels okay for your belly and your chest, you can take your hands on either side of the bolster or cushion and slowly lower yourself down for this restorative supported twist. A wonderful posture to release any back aches, bloating in the belly. The key is to find complete comfort in any restorative practices. So if this posture doesn't feel right, adjust. Maybe a little bit more support behind your back. You can lean even against the wall. Maybe some cushioning underneath the thighs or between the legs, as I have here with a blanket between the knees. Your eyes can open or close. Your head can turn or stay facing the knees. Now feel your feet relax into the floor. The hips heavy. Every inhale expands and widens the back. Sensing the skin gravitate towards the earth. As you breathe into the belly, feeling this three-dimensional breath into the side of the rib cage and the back of the spine. I think we are blessed to have this time monthly, or you create this time monthly for yourself. to slow things down. It's nature's way for us to integrate all our experiences. And we don't have to have an answer. The answer is the inhale follows the exhale without rushing. It's a cycle. In fact, in this space, I invite you to slow down the exhale without strain, just sensing the breath soften. And the inhales will come naturally as we relax our nervous system. The body naturally does its own healing, cleansing, releasing. Taking a few more breaths in this space with this awareness. Slow, complete exhales. Gentle, spacious inhales. And slowly bring your awareness back into your body, laying on your props to come out of this posture, moving slowly. Begin to take your hands underneath your shoulders, taking your time to ragdoll yourself up. Your head comes up last. And then you can turn yourself away from the props. And slowly windshield wipe your legs from side to side. You can stay seated, or for some of us, we might want to just add a little yang posture by lifting your bum. And then slowly changing to the opposite side, take the opposite hip right up against your props. And if you don't have props, you can actually come into a reclined twist on the floor instead of this version. I like this version because you can really rest your belly on it. Once again, either laying on the side or slowly rotate and turn your belly towards the bolster. You can explore turning your head away from the knee. If that doesn't feel right, switching sides. And it might take our body some time to adjust to what it feels like to let go. And that's why we're here to experience this process. So taking a deep breath in, into the belly, into the bolster, and it's a little bit restricted. Perhaps the breath can expand into the back where it's more spacious. And every exhale, the shoulders, the head, The pelvis gets heavy. Coming back to the awareness of the exhales. It's time to release. The body naturally is shedding. So what can you release here? Starting with the breath. No straining. Sometimes the breath or any emotions might need to stay with us because that gives us safety. We're also here to be aware of that. And then allowing your inhale to fill you up. Our inhales affect our heartbeat differently than the exhales. It influences our nervous system. Is that what you are sensing? The heartbeat is applauding your efforts, the efforts of your routine of this self-care. Once again, we'll slowly come out of this posture. If your head is turned away from your knees, turn it back to face your knees first. And then slowly walk your hands underneath you. Take your time to come back up. To release, you might once more do some windshield wiping. You might sit still, or you might lift your bum up once again. Or you can take your hands onto your knees and give yourself a hug. Now we are going to prepare for a half butterfly posture. We will need a few props here. Notice I've got a chair. I have a little stool actually. And then you can sit on the blanket, taking your right leg long and then bend your left knee. And you can take that cushion in front and maybe just rest your head on it if that feels okay. Now if you'd like a little bit more height, now that's just a stool. You can actually use a sofa or a chair, and then you can let your head rest on it. What I really like is to massage my belly or feel that support, the cocooning, by using lots of bolsters. I didn't bring them over to demonstrate. If you have more cushions or blankets or quilts, you can actually really wrap them tight and lean into it so that there's something that your whole front body is leaning against. Once you're in this comfortable place, so I did say comfort, make sure you're not straining. Always use props underneath the thighs, the outer thighs, underneath the hamstring. Begin to breathe once again into the bolster, into the chair or props, pillow or quilt. Relaxing your toes, your fingers. Taking 3 more breaths. And then we'll slowly begin to transition, taking your hands behind you, a little bit of movement in the thighs, and then extending your left leg out, right knee by your side. Continue to use the props. I actually have blocks underneath the hamstring and the outer right thigh here. And find once again a comfortable place for you. I always say it's a brand new side, so it's a brand new pose. Honor what's available right here, right now. And then come back to exploring that complete exhale. Some of us find it useful to count the breaths. You can explore the count of your inhale and the count of your exhale. And as you continue to relax, notice if there is a difference in the count. For example, exhale completely. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then slowly coming back out of the pose, you can extend the legs and give it a little shake. Then using those blocks and underneath the thighs, coming into a wide-legged forward fold. You can bend your knees a lot here. You can once again using stool or chairs in front of you. For me, I like to actually go a little further. I have the space, so do what's right for you. It's always about what's right for you in the yoga practice. And can you bring your awareness into your pelvis? If your head also needs to be supported, just prop yourself higher. The awareness in the pelvis. Every exhale and every inhale will affect the movements. I'm going to let you explore that movement. There is no right or wrong way. And then we'll slowly prop ourselves back up. Once again, releasing by either sitting still or windshield wiping the legs once more. Taking the bolster beside you, we are going to come into lay down on our back, but first I'd like to teach you a mudra. This is Earth Mudra. You take your fourth finger, ring finger, and your thumb together, and you can use this mudra for the next posture while you're laying on your back. I'm going to continue to take the blanket underneath my buttocks as I lay down. And it's nice to also have a sandbag if you have, or just something weighted, maybe a water bottle once again. So placing something underneath the bum if the setup that you've created for yourself feels like it's too much of an arch for your back, then you can take your blocks underneath the thighs or underneath the hamstring. You can come with your feet together, knees apart for this, or I'm just going to extend the legs long here. Then you can take that water bottle or sandbag right on top of your pelvis and a little bit on the lower abdominal if that feels nourishing for you. Make sure your chin is neither lifted nor tucked, so using a supported pillow can be nice. Relax your arms by your side as you lay yourself long onto this nice spacious opening into the front of the chest and shoulders. If this feels like it's too much on your shoulders, you can add more blankets underneath the elbows. And then, once again, can you feel the heaviness of the ankles, the calves, both legs relaxing? And it's a practice. It doesn't relax and then that's it. Just sensing the layers of tension dissipate. And maybe there are different areas in the body that rises. So scan your body of these fluctuations. Then taking your inhale into the whole body, from the nostrils down into the sides of the rib cage, back, the buttocks, even the tips of your toes. And exhale the whole body downwards. Inhaling, sensing the lift, the widening. The exhale, the melting. Inhale, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. And slowly bring your awareness back into your body, practicing relaxation. If you have a water bottle or sandbag or something heavy on top of your pelvis, you can slowly take your hands on either side of it and slide it away. Step your feet on the floor and roll yourself to one side, sliding off your props. Breathing in and exhale to press yourself up with your top arm. Preparing for our final posture. We do not want to do any inversions here. Some people feel comfortable with that during this period time. For myself, I like to connect and honor nature in my way, which means during this time, it's a downward falling movement. So my pelvis will be in line with my heart. No inversions for me. However, if you feel like doing the legs up, we won't stay very long, so you're welcome to do that. I don't recommend it myself from my body. So taking the bolster or something underneath the thighs and then making yourself comfortable. Maybe using that water bottle once again. Cocooning into your Shavasana, final relaxation. Sensing the whole body heavy. Maybe even just one side out your mouth. Relax the feet, the back of the knees, the thighs, the buttocks, the wrists, elbows, and shoulders. Eyeballs nesting in the back of your skull. Observe your whole body being breathed without efforts. You can stay here for as long as you'd like. I'm going to slowly roll myself into a little ball, a little hug, rocking on the sacrum. And to close the practice, you're welcome to take your time to come back up into a seated posture. Great time to also just sit and check in. Namaste.